Dan from Canada. He wants to know, is it okay if I want to be Catholic with no proof of God? Can it be balanced with humanism? I'm not the gatekeeper for Catholicism, but I would, if you're asking from a logical point of view, can you accept something as true with absolutely no proof? Do you think that's a reasonable thing to do? To accept something as true without proof?
Hey, gents, thanks for taking me on the air. I'm not coming because I'm feeling particularly reasonable right now. I'm just going through the loss of a service dog, and
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
Catholics say
that.
dogs are in heaven. That sounds like a pretty happy thought right now. So, no, I don't know that there's a God. I was raised religious, so I have deep-seated doubts that there isn't a God. But I'm looking for an organization and comfort and
Yeah.
non-reality based things at the moment.
So, first of all, sympathies for your loss of your dog. I know I've never been able to own pets myself, significant pets, because family members are always allergic. But I love pets, and I have many close friends who have pets, and I see the trauma it causes when they pass. But I do have to ask: are you literally calling in for permission for us to tell you that the dog is on a farm in upstate New York? I mean, I don't want to be rude about it, but that sounds like what your call is saying, that you're asking a pair of atheists if it's okay that you believe a story without evidence that your dog is okay now. Am I understanding your call correctly?
Honestly, I think you boiled it down to what it is. I'm just a big fan of the ACA, and I hang out in the shadows, listening to calls and enjoying the society that you guys have helped foster, but I don't want to be unwelcome at the same time. I'm looking for something familiar and comfortable.
You'd be welcome if you came in and said you were a fanatic religion person that was just trying to find nice people to talk to. What you believe really doesn't affect, in my experience, what I've seen at the ACA. Everybody is welcome, and we would be glad to have you as a member if you are somebody who is genuinely interested in exploring issues and interested in facts and honesty. I know dealing with loss can be a very traumatic thing, and it can often lead people to try to explore other explanations for events that they don't want to really accept. I don't think that's the right way to do it, but maybe Jim has some ideas or a response.
Well, I've got kind of a question. Do you have a community around you right now of some kind? Do you have a group of friends or anything along those lines?
I have a few people around, a small but fairly close-knit group.
Okay.
And I have been talking to them about the things going on. There's just physical distance between most of the people I know and myself.
Right. And that can be the hardest thing, right? Is because we're social animals, and when bad things happen to us, we kind of need that social net to help us move forward. I might suggest hitting up Meetup or Facebook events or something like that, and finding some things to go do, and find some folks that are closer to you, more local, and go do some things. And if you're finding that difficult to do, or just maybe you actually need some professional help, and calling the Secular Therapy Project might actually be more beneficial to you than calling us. I'm not really sure, how bad your depression is. I hate to use that word, but that's what it sounds like to my untrained ear. But what do you think about doing something like that? Just trying to find some things to go and do, and some people to go and hang around. Even if you could even probably find an animal shelter and volunteer there. What do you think about some of those ideas?
I think there's a lot of validity in what you're suggesting. Personal hurdles are some of my problems in getting out and finding things. YouTube has been one of the best things for me because with the technology, there's abilities to reach out. I lurk on Discord at times, and yeah, I'm just in a tough place and looking for a sense of community, I guess. And
let me ask you a question, Dan. You mentioned that you were raised religious and you have serious doubts about there not being a God. And you're also struggling to deal with the loss of a pet and maybe other things in your life, like we all do from time to time. Are you familiar with an organization called Recovering from Religion?
I've seen the post come up in the Discord a couple of times, but
Okay.
Can't say I've spent time with them.
So my understanding is they are volunteers. They are not necessarily trained therapists, but they will talk to you. You can call them. And the reason I bring them up is it's not like I have been diagnosed with depression in the past. I've had family members with that. And therapy and modern medicine is a wonderful thing. I will say that. But I understand, given the fact that you were a service dog and you mentioned that you have trouble getting out, you may want to do some more of this type of activity remotely. And Recovering from Religion does a lot of their initial, at least, contact over the phone. And the reason I mention them is they are trained on talking to people who are feeling anguish, feeling pain, feeling distress, in part or in whole because of their religious upbringing. They want to get away from it, but they're having trouble sort of releasing that. And that is causing them depression or sadness or anxiety or fear of going to hell or whatever it may be. And it sounds like you might be in that ballpark where you've suffered a loss. You were trained presumably from a young age to deal with that loss a certain way, i.e. thinking of heaven, thinking of an afterlife, and being convinced that you will encounter this person or the thing you lost again sometime. And you are now maybe in a position where you're questioning that, and you're not sure, and you're struggling with the implications of that decision of how to believe and what I am going to actually accept. And Recovering from Religion, they don't try to convert people, they just try to help. So I would recommend talking with them. I would recommend the Secular Therapy Project. They are a project to put people in touch with therapists who have promised not to bring up their religion or propose religion as a solution. You can talk about religion, you can be religious. It's just sort of, to me, more above board therapists who are going to try to help your mental health. I cannot recommend therapy enough, but I would also recommend Recovering from Religion.
Well, to put your mind at ease, I have nothing against therapy, and access to it is pretty good in my country.
Oh, great.
Not great.
Oh, that's right. You're from Canada. I'm preaching to the choir.
No, the Freedom from Religion organization there, like I've looked at them before, but like I didn't want to be that guy taking resources from somebody that really needed it, because there are some people that are noodles are too much. Do you want noodles? Sure.
I will
a cup of noodles.
No problem. I'll differentiate one or make a small correction. You said Freedom from Religion. We were talking about Recovering from Religion. It's a common mistake. Freedom from Religion, U.S. organization that tries to keep religion out of government and public activity. Recovering from Religion, call people, talk to them, tell them how you're feeling, and they have suggestions on how to deal with it. So that and meetups, I think Jim was mentioning. I created a local meetup once when the Sunday Assembly was touring the U.S. The Sunday Assembly was a movement started over in England to create a church replacement for people who didn't believe, because there is something nice about coming together and singing songs and talking about things. And this organization called Sunday Assembly started like, hey, we should start opening things. So I created a meetup and I met a whole bunch of different people. Some were definitely interested in Sunday Assembly. Some people were interested in other things, but they were all sort of secular atheists. Ended up meeting a lot of interesting people. You'll be surprised at how many people are very, very close to you that would love to grab a cup of coffee or come over and visit and play board games or whatever it may be to just chat.
Well, I'm definitely not in a space to organize a meetup, but should I find one that's not far away,
Right.
Yeah.
that would be a good thing.
And finally, if you're just looking for community and there's a Catholic church nearby and you're comfortable going there, then I would say, yeah, go for it. And whether or not you tell them you're an atheist or why you're there is entirely up to you. But for something like this, where you just need community, a community you know will accept you, and parish communities, that there's usually social events going on and things like that, and having any community around you might be better than no community. And so, yeah, I think in your case, you could definitely do that. And like I said, whether or not you tell them you're an atheist or not is entirely up to you. But
Yeah.
any community, I think at this point might be better than no community. Definitely secular therapy projects, if you could find a therapist that can help. Recovering from religion, if you just need to talk. Atheist Community of Discord, great place to go as well if you hang out on Discord. Dealing a little bit more with real people than YouTube, but any of those things I think would be good for you.
Yeah, and I will echo the it's okay to go to a church. I think people that work in churches for the most part, that organize the social stuff and attend, they're wonderful people. They want to do nice things for the most part, right? And this is my personal experience. You don't tend to get as many churches that are crazy in the Catholic organization because they do have a fairly standard operating procedure. So it sort of keeps them locked into a certain message, unlike, Southern Baptist or evangelical, where you can get these preachers that are, advocating the overthrow of the government and killing homosexuals. You're probably not going to run into that as much. I've attended a lot of Catholic masses, met a lot of Catholic people. I have a lot of dear friends who are very religious, and I do go to churches from time to time and hang out with people. I just think that they are good people who would still be doing those good things even if they weren't religious. That's how I view it. They're just good people. So 100% agree with Jim. If you've got a local church that has good people doing good things and you want to hang out with them, by all means. Any more thoughts, Dan?
More thoughts about checking out some of the Discord and trying to be more present there. Yeah, I just, when things get hard, you look for what's comfortable. Some people, it's mashed potatoes. I was raised religious, so it's like the imagery of my youth.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with going to mass and singing, because that always helps elevate the mood. And going through the motions can definitely help as well. And the Catholic Church is big on ritual, and sometimes those help too. So yeah, maybe
100%.
that is best for you given your situation.
Absolutely.
But,
and I think the advantage, the thing to look forward to, if I had to, like, what I focus on when I want to get out of depressive cycles, the thing to look forward to when you do not have a belief in a God is the exciting prospect that the future is yours to make. You can do anything you want within your financial means, and maybe even beyond if you are motivated enough to go out and build more relationships, more friendships, get new pets, do what you want to do to build what you want your life to be, because you are not constrained by a set of rules that are archaic and make no sense anymore now that we know how life works. So you are free to do what you want without having to worry about the implications of any sort of religious belief. And that should be exciting for most people. Sometimes it can be scary early on, but once it gets a hold of you, that there's nobody dictating what your life should be, the possibilities are limitless. So go out there and make the life that you want to be now under these new conditions.
That is a truly terrifying thought.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I agree. So Dan, I hope we've helped.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
You've definitely given me some directions to go in. So thank you, gentlemen.